Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome to my hobby blog. So I took a quick shower and just kind of thought about my feelings about each of these movies. But we are doing the ranking of the February Vinegar Syndrome package. So the movies that we are going to be talking about is Beware, Children at Play, Sister Sister, and finally Drop Dead Fred. So I was definitely surprised by this month. All of these were really great, and I really enjoyed them. But I was a little disappointed by how lacking this month was in terms of number of titles. But I think this is why Vinegar Syndrome only did 3 titles, because all of these are really, really high quality. I enjoyed them all very much. Some of them I loved. And that doesn't happen often. Usually there's one movie in a Vinegar Syndrome package that I don't like, or that didn't work with me. And for this one, they all worked very well for me. And I just really enjoyed it. I'm trying to think of anything else to say before diving into the ranking. But if you want to know more thoughts about any of these movies in terms of how I felt, go watch the individual reviews. They are about 10 minutes each. I believe Beware Children at Play is the longest one. I can't really remember. But I really had fun discussing each of these movies in depth about how I felt and whether I would recommend them or not. It goes without saying I recommend them all very much. There's a lot of things you need to know about each of these movies before going in to kind of gauge whether you'll like it or not. But I discuss all those in my reviews. So without further ado, we're just going to jump right into the rankings. I don't want to spoil it, but it was basically how the order that I watched them is how my ranking went. So the first one that I want to talk about, it's my lowest ranked. Doesn't mean it's bad at all. I love this one. Mostly the ending, but I'm talking about, of course, Beware Children at Play. This is a trauma film, definitely a trauma film. I think trauma got involved sometime during the end of the filming, because there's no way that with the ending that happens that they didn't know that everybody was going to not take it seriously, because the rest of the movie, the directors and actors are acting very seriously. This is like a children possession film and killer children and all that, and the ending just really puts the trauma touch into this movie. If trauma wasn't part of, if trauma wasn't attached to this, I think it wouldn't be as kind of significant. It would still be kind of a big deal in terms of the ending, of how just kind of graphic it is. But I really enjoyed this one. I mean, I talk about in my review. This one was a shock to me. There was a couple scenes I didn't really care for. It was very Stephen King-like. This was just really great. This was the first one I watched, of course. So my number 3 out of 3 is Beware Children at Play. The next movie is one that I loved. I loved the atmosphere. I loved the setting that this movie took place in, which was the Florida swamps. And the genre that this movie belongs to is gothic horror. Not what I would expect from the Florida swamps. I don't think of big castles or Vincent Price when I watch this, or when I hear of Florida. I think of the crazy news stories, because there's a weird law that they have where every arrest that happens must be reported. And I don't know why this came about, but you get some really funny and bizarre news articles coming out where it's like, man fights bear while jacking off. And it's like, what? Who are these people? What is going on in Florida? But I think it's just mostly the fact that they do report all of the US. I'm sure it happens everywhere, but because Florida is the only one who publicizes all of this, they're kind of known for that. But I don't think of Vincent Price and castles and all that. And of course, I'm talking about Sister Sister. This is my number 2. Really enjoyed this one. Jennifer Jason Leigh is great in this. It was nice to see an earlier film because I've seen mostly newer movies with her, like Possessor. Machinist a long time ago. I have no recollection of that movie. Annihilation, she was in that too. But this movie was just really fucking good. The ending was a little quick, and I didn't catch everything, but I loved it. I mean, it was just really good. So, this is narrowly my number 2, and by process of elimination, my number 1 for this package is Drop Dead Fred. I just filmed a review of this. Go watch that for my full thoughts. But this movie was so wholesome, warm, lovely, funny, everything. It had everything for me. And you had Phoebe Cates. I mean, Phoebe Cates is, I've had a crush on her ever since I fell eyes on her when I was a kid seeing Gremlins. She was great in this movie. And I love Rick Mayall, who plays Drop Dead Fred, the imaginary friend of Phoebe Cates' character, Elizabeth. This was just fucking awesome. I just really enjoyed this. One thing I didn't mention is that I mentioned it during the Sister Sister about how I'm confused about Vinegar Syndrome releasing this. I'm no longer confused. I thought about it today when I was at work, and Sister Sister definitely belongs in the Vinegar Syndrome line, but I am absolutely dumbfounded by how Vinegar Syndrome got the rights to this, because even Severin, I don't know why they would release it either. I mean, this movie is a high-budget Universal Pictures title. I mean, it has Phoebe Cates. It has Carrie Fisher, hot off of Star Wars. I mean, about 8 years later, because Return of the Jedi came out in 83, if I remember right. It was every 2 years, 77, 79, 81, I guess. But either way, much later than Star Wars. Carrie Fisher's an international icon by this point, and she's in this. And Vinegar Syndrome, known for the cult films, like in the exact same month that this movie was released by Vinegar Syndrome, they did a trauma film. Like, these movies do not go together, like, at all. But they did it. They released this movie, and it's fucking awesome. I really enjoyed this. It made my night. Like, I'm all happy. Like, I had a great day at work anyways, but, like, this, it's like, okay, great. I get to go home and watch this movie I've never really heard of. I don't know anything about. And then I watched it, and I was like, oh my god, I love this. Like, I feel so bubbly today. Like, today's just a great day. And Drop Dead Fred really added to it. So I'm really happy that I, got the subscription. This is why I do Vinegar Syndrome. Because Vinegar Syndrome, I always talk about, like, 75% of the movies they release are trash. Always something there to like. Always something there to enjoy. Whether it's the special features, the actual packaging, the restoration. They have some really insane restorations at Vinegar Syndrome. I never thought I would see Getaven in like HD quality. Like, that was the biggest surprise for me. But it's those diamonds in the rough that I really enjoy about Vinegar Syndrome. And it's so nice that I found 3 of them. 3 out of 3 in this month's package. I really fucking enjoyed. I should probably... No, the other side's actually not the good spines. But I really lucked out here, in my opinion. This was such a fucking good month. And March looks just as awesome. So I am so excited for that. I can't wait to get it in the mail and begin the March series. Because this is the final episode of the February one. I guess I've been in the closing remarks about how much I love these movies, about why this is why I I do Vinegar Syndrome because they have diamonds in the rough. And two of these were diamonds. One of these was gold. So, I am very happy with my subscription so far. It's paid for itself at this point. I'm never going to sell these, so some people talk about how they're able to kind of recoup the losses in terms of how much they spend on the subscription by selling earlier releases, like January to April releases. And that, the slipcovers have gone out of print, they sell them, and they make a shit ton of money back, because if you sell a Vinegar Syndrome release with a slipcover and it's open, you'll probably get $50 for it. If it's sealed, you'll get like $75 to $100, depending on what the movie is. Because I've seen Rad, for example. I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen postings on eBay talking about, well, not even talking about it, just the posting says it's, $200 or whatever. And people pay that much. And it's absurdity, in my opinion. It shouldn't be that way, in my opinion. At most, it should be like $30 that you're reselling Vinegar Syndrome out-of-print slipcovers with the movie. Sealed. Like, if it's open, sell it for $25. That's about how much it costs. On the subscription, these come out to about $18, maybe $20. But, I believe we are getting 2 4K movies next month. I guess it'll be like next week that I get it in the mail. But, I can barely even remember what the titles were. Because I'm going to get them anyways. I don't look at them too much or anything like that. Really, the first time that I look at them, at least for this year, is when I do the unboxing. And I open them beforehand. I slip the different covers around if they have one. For Drop Dead Fred, they don't have one, but, whatever. What's nice is that they put the theatrical one on the front instead of just this side. But, I think that's all that I have today. What a great month, Vinegar Syndrome. Keep it up. Although I've given you most of my money at this point, I'm willing to shell out more. Vinegar Syndrome is rapidly approaching my favorite company. I still love Criterion just a little bit more because they do focus on the classics. So there's a lot higher success rate with Criterion, but Vinegar Syndrome, when it's right, it's right. It's really fucking right. So thank you all for watching, and I can't wait to see you guys next month for the March Vinegar Syndrome package.